And I say to my fellow Australians, thank you for this extraordinary honour. Tonight, the Australian people have voted for change.
Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has just touched down in Tokyo, just hours after becoming Australia's
sworn in, got in the plane, and if you fall asleep while you're here, it's okay.
Penny Wong has arrived in the Solomon Islands.
Penny Wong is headed to Thailand and Brunei this week.
Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has addressed the Papua New Guinea Parliament.
Penny Wong tries to rebuild relations in Fiji.
And I understand that under past governments, Australia has neglected its responsibility to act on climate.
It was a very positive meeting. I think it exceeded expectations.
The Albanese government's climate bill has sailed through the lower house.
Hey, this is just another one for all of those people that are like, Labor hasn't done anything. Have you ever heard of the
Future Made in Australia Act?
Capacity Investment Scheme.
All about grabbing the big economic and industrial opportunities from the fact that the world is transforming its economy in the context of net zero.
Medicare is facing its biggest overhaul since it was created.
Urgent care clinics.
It's free tape. The HAF, or Housing Australia Future Fund.
That it's this $10 billion housing fund.
This was a pragmatic solution.
That's not what it is.
Why you should vote Labor and never vote Green.
This is a fundamental test of our social goals and our national will.
We apologise for the laws and policies of successive parliaments.
The question that Australians will be asked at this year's referendum is a very simple one.
We don't know how it'll function.
There was a resounding no to the Prime Minister's Canberra voice. Creating another national body out of Canberra, as the Prime Minister's proposing, divides our country, it doesn't unite.
When you have a look at those numbers, it's falling through the floors. I'm worried about it failing, PM.
Well, get on board, Ben.
Another 1% in interest rate rises this year. That's the prediction from some economists.
Cost of living, and then if there's time, more cost of living.
The Prime Minister and his colleagues are almost boasting about the fact that they haven't explained it.
At the supermarket, a bag of groceries is $50.
And that Indigenous people, they don't even want it.
80% of us do.
Landlords are just evicting people just to put rent up.
Whose fault is it that things have gotten expensive?
Cost of living.
Cost of living.
Cost of living.
The cost of living.
How is this not war, Australia?
So if you don't know, vote no.
Let's vote yes together.
Vote no.
That votes yes.
Vote no.
I'm voting yes.
Vote no.
With hope for a better future, vote yes. When you aim high, sometimes you fall short. And tonight, we acknowledge, understand, and respect that we have.
More than 700 Israelis are now feared dead after unprecedented attacks by Hamas militants.
Flares were thrown, anti-Semitic slurs chanted, and an Israeli flag set on fire during that illegal pro-Palestinian rally last night at the Opera House.
Jets have been hitting what they say are Hamas positions, but many civilians have also been killed in this densely populated Palestinian enclave.
Hamas is an enemy, but not just of Israel. Hamas
this Prime Minister needs to stand up and to be united with the Jewish community. And he's not. The words have been qualified, the message divided, and the Australian...
A number of pro-Palestinian rallies are being held across Australia today.
Palestine supporters march, demanding a ceasefire.
I do not believe our principles align with those of the leadership of the Labor Party. With a heavy heart, but a clear conscience, I announce my resignation from the Australian Labor Party.
The so-called AUKUS security alliance is no doubt being closely monitored by Beijing.
For $360 billion, we're going to get 8 submarines. Right? This must be the worst deal in all history.
Today I announce tax cut for every single Australian.
Here's how much you'll save.
Is my fridge.
I am nearly 27 years old, and today I am moving back in.
Tell you what happened to the money changers in the temple. They burnt in hell. And there's a message for the likes of Woolworths and Coles.
Budget surplus.
Budget surplus.
The largest back-to-back surpluses.
Have your lives improved under Anthony Albanese?
This is completely the wrong question to ask. That's like going to the GFC and saying Bush or Obama. Instead, it's much better to benchmark against the rest of the world than other periods of time.
Russia's invasion of Ukraine triggered the biggest shock to global
energy prices since the 1970s.
The Prime Minister has defended his relationship with a former Qantas CEO.
Anthony Albanese is the proud new owner of a Central Coast beach house worth more than $4 million.
In the middle of a housing crisis, while property investors like the Prime Minister are buying expensive beachfront property.
Social media is doing harm to our children.
The RBA has today slashed the official cash rate.
Real wage growth for the first time in nearly 3 years.
Peter Dutton finally delivered his nuclear energy vision.
What credible energy expert believes that this is ever going to happen?
Synagogue has been destroyed in a targeted attack.
Annual inflation slowing from 2.5% in January to 2.4%.
US President Donald Trump announced a sweeping raft of tariffs.
The administration's tariffs have no basis
What
in
in the
logic.
world makes you think you would have made any difference here?
Never Peter Dutt has an opportunity to back Australia.
To the Sigmas of Australia, Skivity.
The Albanese government confirmed today it will drop its disgraceful misinformation bill.
Landing a spot at an Australian university is about to become a lot harder for international students. Labor today announced the cap on next year's intake to help cut immigration to ease pressure on housing.
While Labor's pointing to wage growth, lower inflation and the first interest rate cut since 2020, the consequences of sustained hip pocket pressures aren't often kind to incumbent governments.
Has accepted my advice that an election be held on Saturday, 3rd of May 2025.